Welcome to yoga on our Wednesday evening. As you're practicing yoga at home today, please be aware of your surroundings so that you know what's to your left and what's to your right, so that when we move around, no big surprises. And then pay attention to how you feel. Don't do anything that doesn't feel right, and know that it's always fine to rest or to modify any of the postures. So we're going to start lying down on our backs. Find a comfortable position to lie down. And the next few moments are just about transitioning from the rest of your day into your yoga class. So know that anything in you that was occupying you when you came, you can let go of. It'll be there when you go back. Allow it just to be dropped for the moment. And bring your attention to your breath. So let your breath become a little bit deeper, slightly slower, but make sure it still remains comfortable. Don't let it make you out of breath. Comfortable, steady breath. Feel the expansion as you breathe in, that softness as you breathe out. Let the expansion feel like a balloon, filling and stretching as you breathe in, and then softening back down as you breathe out. Breath in, breath out, the same length. Keep that focus on your breath. Bring your legs together, arms by your sides. We're going to take a sequence of movements. I'm going to talk you through a couple of rounds, but then I'm going to let you carry on in your own time so that you can match it with the pace of your breath. We've all got different pace of breath. We're going to have a couple of rounds together just to get the sequence. So as you next breathe in, you're going to reach your arms up and over beyond your head. As you breathe out, right knee onto your chest, hands around your knee. As you breathe in, stretch your leg out along the floor again, reach your arms beyond your head, everything stretched long. And as you breathe out, arms back down by your sides. So we're going to do it on the left side. Breath in to raise both arms. Exhale, left knee onto your chest, hands around your knee just to guide it gently in. Inhale, stretch your leg out along the floor, arms over beyond your head. Exhale, arms by your sides. So you're going to carry on in your own time. There's 4 parts to the movement. Breath in, arms overhead. Each of the 4 parts takes as long as the rest. So exhale, right knee to chest. Carry on in your own time though. Don't change the pace of your breath. Carry on until you complete the next one using your left leg. So you don't need to rush, carry on at that pace. When you finish the sequence with your left leg, then just rest on the floor, arms by your sides. And then bend both knees, feet onto the mat. Bring your knees onto your chest, wrap your hands around your knees and have a rock side to side. Bring your feet down onto the floor. And then roll to one side. We're going to make our way up to standing for our salute to the sun. So stand at the front end of your mat. Toes pointing forwards, feet together if that's comfy, but if it's not comfy, then feet a little bit apart. Picture the footprint that your feet would make on the floor, or are making through your mat. Make it nice and even, equal on both feet, equal through the balls of your feet and your heels. And as if there's a thin centre line up through the middle of your body, lift it taller, stretch up through your centre line, but don't let anything outside your shoulders lift up with it. It's just the very centre line that lifts up, and your chin stays parallel to the floor. Lift your arms up to the ceiling. And then look up between your fingers, reach your arms back and a bit wider. Lift your chest towards the ceiling. So if your shoulders move up towards your ears, move them away. Stretch your fingers out to the back corners of the ceiling though. See if your chest will lift higher. And then look forwards, reach up tall. And take a forward fold. Bend of your knees, fingertips on the floor. Shoulders relaxed once you get there. Looking between your legs. Right leg steps back to a lunge. So lift your chest to look forwards. Left foot back to down face dog. Hands and feet grounded on the floor. Tummy up into spine. Make it feel strong. Slide forwards to plank, still feeling strong. Gently place your knees on the mat. Smoothly lower your front body down, elbows close by your sides. And then roll your shoulders away from your ears, lift your chest. Let it feel like the backs of your shoulders are moving back into the space behind them to give the lift in your chest. Look back down at the floor, push up to hands and knees, tuck your toes under, down face dog. And then a walk through your legs. Keep your hips lifted high. Feel the stretch on the straight leg. And then let both heels drop down towards the floor. Backs of both legs stretch long. Weight on your left foot, look between your hands and step your right foot through to a lunge. Step the left foot forwards, forward fold. A deep bend of your knees, drop your hips down low, lift your spine and then straighten your legs. Palms together at the top. Tall as you can be and then keep the height as you slide your palms down. Feet still grounded, still that lift up through the centre line. And then lift your arms Look up, reach back and wide. Centre of your chest lifting. Look forwards, reach up. Forward fold. Left leg this time back to a lunge. Lifting your chest. Right foot back to down face dog. Feeling strong here. Keeping the strength as you slide forwards to plank. So either knees lifted or place your knees down on the floor, and as you lower down, maybe you can land the whole of your front body at the same moment. Roll your shoulders back and lift your chest. Look back down, hands and knees, tuck your toes under, down face dog again. So legs stretched, but stretch doesn't have to mean straight. Straight for some people isn't possible, so a bend is fine, but a stretch as much as you can. Imagine that you've got a piece of stretchy elastic from the tips of your fingers, up the backs of your arms, or up the top edge of your arms, up through your, past your shoulders, up your back to your hips, and then over the top of your hips, down, and it ends at your heels. So feel how long that bit of elastic is. Stretch it tight. And then take your weight on your right foot, look between your hands. Step your left foot through to a lunge. Right foot forwards, forward fold. Deep bend of your knees. Lift your chest, straighten your legs. Palms together, slide your palms down, stand tall. I'm going to go with the breath. So breath in to lift your arms. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, right leg back to a lunge. Exhale, down face dog. Inhale, plank. Option to drop your knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, down face dog. Tummy button to spine. Firm down through your hands and your feet. Find that length of elastic again. So to stretch that bit of elastic a little bit longer, maybe you could try to lift your hips higher up off the floor. So you'll be really strong through your hands and your feet to do that. And maybe try to send your hips further back. And when you send your hips further back, can your heels then stretch down closer to the floor, stretching your elastic some more? Feel the strength needed down into the floor to get the extra length through the back of your body. And then weight on your left foot, look between your hands. Breath in, right foot forwards. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, palms slide down. Breath in. Breath out. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, down face dog. Inhale, plank. Option to drop your knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, down face dog. Tummy button to spine. Ground down through your feet and your hands again to stretch that elastic. So lift your hips up and back. So you make the front end of your elastic longer, and then can your heels pull down to lengthen the backs of your legs. Steady breath. Weight on your right foot, look between your hands. Breath in, left foot forwards. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, palms slide down. Breath in. And a breath out. And then step your feet a little bit apart, rest your arms. So make any movements you want to make, a swing of your hips, a march of your legs, ready for our balance. So in our balance today, we're going to take a forward fold and then stretch your leg out behind. So you need space behind you. So make sure you've got that space, whatever way you decide to face. I'm going to face sideways on so that you can see me if you look up, but hopefully you'll be looking down at the floor instead. So feet are together or slightly apart, toes pointing forwards. You're going to take a breath in to lift your arms and an exhale to come into a forward fold. So you can bend your knees as much as you want, get your fingertips on the floor, and then see that your fingertips and your left foot form the base, the corners of a equilateral triangle. So that's your base, because in a moment you're going to pick your right foot up and send it out behind you. But before you do that, lift your tummy button up towards your spine. Imagine that you've got a loop around your waist and it's looped down from the ceiling. It's going to lift back up to the ceiling. It's lifting you with it. And as it lifts you up, you've almost got to reach your hands and your feet back down to the floor. Keep that harness lifting you. Tighten your right thigh, squeeze your right thigh, let the right leg go out behind. So it can come up to parallel or anywhere below parallel, wherever you want it to be. Lift up with your harness, squeeze your right thigh, that's your balance. If you want to challenge your balance a bit more, you take one hand onto your standing ankle. If you want to, you can take the second hand as well. And then both sets of fingertips back down on the floor. A bend of your left leg, your standing leg. Bring your right foot on the floor, hip distance apart from your left foot this time. Deep knee bend. Tuck your tailbone under, tuck your chin in. And then roll yourself back up to standing. Take a couple of breaths before we go on the other side. So tips for balancing are to hold your gaze on something on the floor that's not moving. Feeling that lift up as if you've got a loop from the ceiling, like a harness from the ceiling, and it's pulling you up and you're just sort of lifting up around it. If you feel like you've got that bit of support, mentally it helps you balance. Also a tight lifted thigh. So I'll remind you when we get down there again, you're going to take a breath in to lift your arms. And then exhale, forward fold. So you can bend your knees as much as you need to. Doesn't matter whether your standing leg is bent or straight. This time it's your right foot and two sets of fingers that make the equilateral triangle. So find your balance, tummy button to spine. Find the point where you're going to hold your gaze. And then feel your harness around your waist. Let it lift up, let it sort of lift you, as if you feel you've got to really stretch your leg back down to the floor to be able to have your foot on the floor. Squeeze your left thigh, lift it up behind. So you can stay there if that's enough. Keep the harness, keep the tight lifted leg. Maybe though you can take one hand onto your standing ankle, maybe both. Just play around with what your balance will allow. And then both sets of fingertips back down on the floor. A bend of your standing leg. Bring your left foot back down on the floor as well. Hip distance apart with your feet. A good bend of your knees. Round your back. Tuck your chin in. Tuck your tailbone under. Roll back up to standing. And then we're going to lie down on our backs. It doesn't matter which way you face. If you moved your mat, that's okay. Leave it where it is. Take your attention to your breath. Feel that balloon again, filling up and then softening back down. You know how a balloon is sort of soggy and soft when it's when it empties. It doesn't go flat, it just goes to that just gently puffy state. Open your eyes, bring your legs together. Stretch your legs out long. Heels push away. And arms by your sides, palm face down. We're going to do single leg lifts. When we start, you're going to think about the sort of flexibility of lifting the leg. The leg that stays on the floor is going to be pushing down firmly in order to let the other leg have the flexibility to lift up. So ground the back of your left leg down on the floor. And then as you take a breath in, lift your straight right leg. Both heels push away all the time. Lift it just as high as it wants to go straight. And then as you exhale, lower it back down. Now your right leg pushes down on the floor. You breathe in, lift your left leg. As high as it will go straight. Exhale, lower it back down. Breath in, right leg lifts. Exhale, lower. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, lower. And then relax both legs on the floor for a moment. So we use the stability of the leg on the floor to give a bit of stability to find some flexibility in the lifting of the other leg. This time we're going to think about core strength. So the leg on the floor provides a bit of strength. If the leg is lighter on the floor, the core's got to do the work. So this time, rather than pressing your left leg down on the floor as you lift your right leg, just have it lighter on the floor. If it feels easy, maybe float it a centimetre above the floor or have it somewhere in between. Notice how strong it is on your core when you've got lightness in your floor leg, and just adjust how much pressure is on the floor from that leg to how much assistance your core needs. So it's a core exercise. You want to be drawing your back of the waist down towards the floor though. If your lower back starts to arch and feel a bit tight, then that's your cue to push the foot firmer down on the floor. We're going to do 3 to each side. So tummy button to spine, both heels pushing away, lightness through both legs, and then take a breath in, right leg lifts. Exhale, lower. So the right leg just lands very lightly. Take a breath in, left leg lifts. Exhale, lower. Inhale, right, both heels pushing away. Exhale, lower, still tummy button to spine. Inhale, left. Exhale, lower. One more to each side. Breath in, right leg. Exhale, lower. Breath in, left leg. Exhale, lower. And when it lands, you can let your feet go a little bit wider apart. Let them flop. Turn your palms up. Bend your knees, feet onto the mat. Setu Bandha, bridge pose. So you want to have your feet hip distance apart and your heels fairly close in towards you so that your shins feel parallel, vertical. And then your arms close by your sides, palm face down. So in Setu Bandha we lift the hips. Make sure you don't have anything under the back of your head for this. And then gently tuck your tailbone under. And as you tuck your tailbone under, feel your back ribs, your lower back ribs firm down on the mat. Press your feet onto the floor as well. And as you press some more into your feet, lift your hips up towards the ceiling, up away from the floor. When they get as far as it feels right for them to go, then use the strength of your legs to push down into your feet and lift your hips some more. You might want to just press down with your upper arms to get a bit of lift in your chest as well. Or if you want to, you can interlock your hands behind your back. Keep your elbows straight. Squeeze your elbows together, and when the skin on your upper arms sort of feels like it needs to be released, when it gets trapped, tuck your upper arms under, one arm and then the other. So your top chest becomes broad. Then you've got a very good leverage to lift your chest some more. Push those upper arms down. And then find the strength in your legs again to lift your hips. Just going to stay here about 2 more breaths. Press down as firmly as you can. Feel your front body splaying up towards the ceiling. And then take your arms as wide apart as the mat. Send your hips firmly but strongly towards your heels to roll your back down onto the floor. Once you land on the floor, have a moment with your eyes closed. And then bring your knees onto your chest, hands around your knees, open your eyes, bring your forehead up towards your knees. So squeeze into a tight ball, relax your shoulders away from your ears. And then roll your upper back and the back of your head back down. Have a rock side to side. I'm sure no one saw that. And then come to rest at the centre. Bring your feet onto the mat. Stretch your legs out along the mat once again for a twist. We're going to take the arms wide out to the side, palm face up. And then bring your right knee onto your chest. Left hand onto your right knee. Squeeze it comfortably in, but keep the left heel pushing away. So your left leg is your working leg. We're going to, in a moment, roll onto the outside of that left leg. You're going to keep it really straight and the heel pushing away. You're also going to keep the back of your right arm on the floor. So take a breath in here. And as you exhale, with your left hand, guide your right knee to the left. So your right arm stays on the floor, but you roll onto the outside of your left hip. The left leg stays straight. Feel the outside of the knee, the outside of the ankle, maybe the little toe on the floor. You guide your knee towards the floor. So knee stays tucked up. Left leg has to work really hard to stay straight here. So keep it working. It's like you're balancing on that left leg. You can look up at the ceiling. You can even turn your head towards the right if that feels a comfortable thing for your neck and shoulders. Or look at the ceiling. It's a bit of a negotiation between bringing your right knee down and keeping the back of your right arm on the floor. If you're looking to the right, look back up at the ceiling. Roll onto your back. Place your right foot on the floor. Stretch your left arm out. And then bring your left knee onto your chest. Right hand on your left knee. Stretch your right leg out. So heel pushes away. It's like you're trying to get the whole length of the back of your right leg on the floor. Feel your left arm and left shoulder on the floor. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, right hand guides your left knee to the right. So you roll onto the outside of your right hip, the outside of your right leg. You're still pushing the heel away. And as you guide the knee towards the floor, the back of your right knee is completely stretched long. You can look at the ceiling or you can turn and look over your left. Find that bit of negotiation again between your left knee and your left back shoulder. Re-stretch the right leg. Roll onto your back. Foot on the floor, right foot on the floor as well. Relax your arms. Just let your knees drop from side to side. And then knees to the centre. Roll to one side, bring yourself up to standing, and ideally mat facing, long waist facing me this way. However, I'm going to turn onto a bit of an angle, I think, but if you can be this way, that's the best. I'm just going to turn so that maybe you get a better view of me. I'm just going to go slightly diagonal. But we're going to start at the front of the mat and we're going to step back. We're going to start with chair pose, Utkatasana. So feet slightly apart. Toes pointing forwards. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Maybe you'd like to see me. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, you've got an imaginary stool behind you. You're going to sit down on that stool. Have a quick look down. Make sure your knees are pointing in the same direction as your toes. And then look forwards again. So roll your shoulders away from your ears. Tummy button to spine. A long straight back and your head and neck in line with your spine. You're sinking your hips and you're lifting your upper arms away from the floor. Strongly away from the floor. Breathing steadily. And then take a breath in, lift your arms up to the ceiling, stretch your legs. Exhale, arms by your sides. So we're going to change it up a little bit. Going to lift the arms again. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, sit on your chair once again. Once you find the seat of your chair, tummy button to spine, but lengthen through your upper body so your chest stays lifted. Stretch your arms straight, lift your upper arms away from the floor. It's really strong on the arms. You're going to look down just in front of your toes. Tummy button to spine. It's a sort of an up and over dive into a forward fold. Fingertips land on the floor just in front of your toes. You can take a moment there to rest. I'm going to just turn my camera down while you stay there. You're going to step your left foot back to your right foot back to a lunge. And once you've lunged back, place your right knee down on the floor. And you can untuck your toes or leave them tucked under. I don't mind, I prefer mine on the floor. So lift your chest to look forwards. Slide your hips forwards. Check that your ankle's underneath your knee. If your knee is forwards of your ankles, see if you can shimmy your foot forwards to get this kind of vertical line of your shin. And then how far forwards can the line of your collarbones come, collarbone? So your chest is lifted. You're going to place your right hand flat on the floor, your left hand on your left knee. Keep your collarbones lifted and then turn to the left. You're twisting. You're turning towards the bent knee, the front leg. And it's as if you've got a wall on the outside of your right arm. You're going to turn so that the left shoulder, back of the shoulder, leans back against that same wall. And when it finds that imaginary wall, if you want to, you can lift your left arm as well. Lovely, that's looking great. So your whole arm span and your shoulder blades against your imaginary wall. Look back down on your left foot on the floor. Take your hand outside your left foot. And then you're going to walk your hands backwards. And as you walk your hands backwards, your hips have no choice but to go back as well. Let your hips go back as far as they can. You're stretching your left leg. How straight can the back of the knee go? And then pivot on your heel. Pull your toes up towards your face. You can relax your head and neck and your shoulders, but your hips stay pulling back. A bit of a feeling like you're trying to push your hips back and almost arch your lower back. That feeling of pushing back to get a stretch on the back of the left leg. So if your toes are pointing up to the ceiling, place your foot back down on the floor. Walk your hands forwards. So you're back into your lunge. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your back knee. It's like we're in the salute to the sun. We're going to step the back foot forwards in line with the front foot into a forward fold. Keep a deep bend of both knees, or make a deeper bend of both knees. Tuck your tailbone under your chin in and roll back up to standing. Lift both arms. We're coming back into chair pose, Utkatasana. Take a breath in. As you exhale, sit yourself down. Tummy button to spine, so you're not pushing your back, you're not arching your lower back. Tummy button to spine. And as your hips sink, your upper arms lift away from the floor. You breathe steadily. Knees are in line with your toes. Hips lower, upper arms lift. Down just in front of your feet. Dive over into a forward fold. This time the left leg steps back to a lunge. Big step back and then place your left knee down on the floor. So your hips move forwards. And if your knee comes forwards of your ankle, you creep your foot a little bit forwards as well. Left hand on the floor, flat on the floor. Right hand on your right knee. And then look forwards. Draw your collarbone towards the wall in front. Keep that lift of your chest as you turn to the right. So now your imaginary wall is on the outside of your left arm. You're going to roll the back of the right shoulder all the way back onto that wall. And then if you want to, lay the back of the right arm up the wall as well. Lovely. So it's the back of the arm and the back of the palm against, the back of your hand, sorry, against the wall. And then look back down at your right foot. Right hand outside your right foot. Walk your hands back. Slide your hips back. How straight can the back of your right leg go? Push your bum out behind to get more stretch. Pivot on your right heel to pull your toes up. And then lay your foot back down on the floor. Walk your hands forwards, back into your lunge. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your back knee. Step your left foot in line with your right foot. Forward fold. And then a deeper bend of your knees. Chin tucks in, tailbone tucks under. Roll yourself back up. can take a wide leg forward fold. So you want to have the wide edge of your mat in front of you. Your feet as wide apart as is comfortable, and your toes slightly turned in. Hands on hips. So it's all about tilting your hips to go forwards. So breath in, length of the front of your body, ground down through your feet, and then as you exhale, tilt your hips forwards. Just picture your hips. If they tilt forwards, your upper body will go with them. You just go as far as you can with your tilting of your hips, and when you can't go any further, then release your arms towards the floor. Then let your upper body just relax, so your shoulders don't have to hold themselves up. Everything relaxes. If your hands don't reach the floor, you can hold onto your legs for a bit of support if that helps, wherever is good. If your hands are on the floor, they can give you a little bit of balance. So feet push into the floor again. Have a look left and right. See your arches. Feel like you're lifting up through the inside edges of your legs. So your legs feel really strong. And then we're going to think about the tilt of the hips again, to try to tilt the hips a little bit further over. So as you take a breath in, imagine the skin on the backs of your thighs pushing up towards the ceiling. Push it as high as it can go, and then as you exhale, relax your shoulders, let your upper body hang. 2 more breaths like that. So breath in, skin on the backs of the thighs pushes strongly up. Exhale, relax your upper body. 1 more breath in, big push up at the back. Exhale, relax your upper body. And then take a bend of both knees. Bring your fingertips on the floor underneath your shoulders, so maybe a bit in front of your mat. Heel toe your feet closer together, but just a little bit wider than hip distance apart. We're going to take a squat, so you want your feet fairly wide apart. Toes turned out to the sides. Then slowly lower your hips. Bend your knees out in the direction of your toes, so wide out to the side. Stop if you need to stop. It's fine to stop anywhere and rest your elbows on your thighs if you want to. If you're nearly there but your heels pop up, that's okay, let them pop up. If you can get your heels on the floor, then maybe you can bring your palms together. Use your elbows to push your knees out to the sides. So if you're close to the floor, you might be able to just take your hands behind you and roll down. If you're further up, then take your hands on the floor in front, lift your hips, and then one knee down, the other knee down. And then take a lie down on your back. Find whatever position is comfy for you to lie in down there. Close your eyes. Find that balloon in your torso again. Bend your knees, feet onto the mat. Knees onto your chest, another rock side to side. And then feet on the floor. Make your way up to sitting. And if you have a block, feel free to sit on a block. We're going to sit cross-legged with an option if you don't like that. A block helps you to sit up a little taller in cross-legged position if you're not, it's not your favourite position. You want to be in a place where you can, I don't like that angle. You need to be in a place where you can sit up tall. So almost like you're not letting yourself bulge out behind, sitting unassisted, upright. And if you don't like sitting cross-legged, then you can kneel. You could kneel if you want to kneel. You can even put a block underneath your hips to take a bit of strain off the back of your knees if you want to, because that's a nice upright position. Or you can stretch your legs out in front if you'd like that. So being where you want to be, you're going to take a side stretch. So sit nice and tall to start. Find yourself nice and grounded on the floor so that you can then have that solid base, and then we can move the upper body. You're going to lift your left arm up to the ceiling. Right hand just on the floor wherever you can reach. So how close to the ceiling can your right fingers go? Take a breath in here. Sorry, left fingers. Sorry, Helen. Sorry, Daniel. Take a breath in here. And then as you exhale, lean over to the right. You're making a C-shaped curve in your spine, and you need this right hand on the floor to give you a bit of support. Feel how you want to roll onto your left hip, buttock, thigh, and use your hand in the floor to balance that out. So keep that curve in your spine. Just reach your left arm up to the ceiling. Nothing else moves, just your arm. Keep reaching up to the ceiling as if something's pulling it up. Collarbones lift, so lift in your chest. And a turn of your chest towards the ceiling. So maybe your left arm will move a little closer to the wall behind, as if it's sort of opening out. You're going to take 3 breaths here. As you breathe in, you lift your chest. And as you breathe out, you turn your chest more up towards the ceiling. So breath in to lift. Feel relaxed through your shoulders at that point. And then as you exhale, rotate to the ceiling. One more breath in. One more breath out. Look down at the floor in front of you. Bring your left hand back down. Bring yourself back up. And then raise your right arm. So stretch it tall, so you get that initial stretch on the right side of your body. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, C-curve your spine over to the left. Use your left hand on the floor to balance the weight in your hips. And to stop you falling that way. It's like a softness through the left of your body to let that collapse and to let the right side stretch. So that C-curve in your spine stays. Your right arm reaches right up towards the ceiling. See if there's any collapse in your chest. Can you lift your chest? Take a breath in, and as you exhale, turn your chest a little bit more towards the ceiling. Maybe open that right arm back. So breath in to lift your chest, relax your shoulders. Exhale, turn to the ceiling. One more breath in, and one more breath out. Look down at the floor in front of you. Release your right arm, bring yourself back up again. If you're still cross-legged, stretch it, have a look which leg is in front. Stretch your legs out, give your legs a shake. And then recross the other way. So we're going to take a forward fold here. If you're half comfy sitting cross-legged, it's quite nice now to take the block away. I'm not great at cross-legged, but I like the block away to fold forwards. It makes it easier for me. I don't really know why. But try it without, it's all good. Hands either side of your hips. So can you arch your back? Sticking your tailbone out behind, lifting your chest. And if you can, then send your ribs forwards. So that feeling of arching your back is actually lengthening your spine. If your ribs come so far forwards, that's gravity lets you bring your hands forwards, do that. But if bringing your hands forwards makes you spring back, then keep your hands back to give you that bit of leverage to pull forwards. And then relax your shoulders, relax your head and neck. As you breathe in, a feeling of pushing down into the floor with the tops of the backs of your thighs or your block. And then as you breathe out, soften your shoulders again. Let the breaths be slow. We're going to take 2 more slow ones. So a breath in, stretching, sort of pushing the backs of your thighs down. Breath out, softening your shoulders. One more breath in. One more breath out. Chin to chest. If your hands are in front of you, walk them towards you so that you can gently bring yourself back up again. Unfold your legs. Stretch them out. Give them a shake or whatever they feel like they need. And then take a lie down on your back. So if you want to put something warmer on, it's our last bit of lie down. Feel free to. We're going to move a little bit though, so a blanket's not advisable just yet, but you can put it by your side if you want to come to it in a moment. So stretch out on the floor, both legs straight, arms comfortable. We're going to come back to the sequence that we started with. So I'll talk you through 2 rounds again, and then you're on your own, whatever pace of breath you feel comfortable with. So breath in, both arms reach overhead. Breath out, right knee onto your chest. Breath in, stretch your leg out along the mat, arms beyond your head. Exhale, hands down by your sides, arms by your sides. Breath in, both arms go overhead. A little bit of a change if you want it. Left knee to chest, hands around your knee, and if you want to, bring your forehead up towards your knee this time as you breathe out. As you breathe in, elongate your leg along the mat, stretch both arms out beyond your head, and then exhale, arms by your sides. So with you then, a breath in to take your arms beyond your head. Remember, every time your knee comes in, it's your right knee first this time. You can bring your forehead up towards your knee if you want to. Don't rush any of the 4 parts of the sequence. So we started on the right side. You're going to continue until you've finished your next sequence on the left side, but no need to rush. And then find Shavasana once you've completed those. So maybe feet mat width apart, but legs completely relaxed, feet flopped, ankles soft, arms a little way away from your body, palm face up, eyes closed. Aware once again of your breath. Expansion as you breathe in, the softness as you breathe out. And let the softness as you breathe out, let that relax your body, so that every time you breathe out, even more of the back of your body has a sort of soft contact with the floor. And gently take your arms beyond your head. Take a good stretch out towards the wall behind. Bring your legs together. Legs along. Push your heels away. Pull your toes up towards your face. And then point your toes away. Relax your arms, relax your legs. Bring your knees onto your chest. A hand on each knee, and then let your hands guide your knees around in a big circle. It's about getting a bit of rocking on your lower back as a massage. And then back the other way as well. And change your circling for a rock from side to side. So that you can then take one big rock all the way to the right side or to whatever side you've got the most space. And then come back up to sitting. Namaste. Thank you all very much for joining me.